we're going to go on a little bit of a field trip today. I'm going to walk outside the storage unit and just kind of give you a rundown of the new clothing board that I put together to photograph all my clothes. I'll even show some examples up here in a few minutes to just show you what the results look like that I'm getting so far and see what you think. So let's head right out here. And we're going to go right here. I'm going to set you down. Right, well, I'm not going to do that. We're going to come out here. So this is the board that I'm using here. This is 48 inches wide. This is 60 inches, 5 feet long. And then I've got my photo light or my studio light, filming light, whatever you want to call it. It's just a soft box right here that I'm using to get some additional light. I do have, there's a light right up here outside my storage unit shining down. But then I've got the soft box here that is also, shining onto the board. So I've got a couple different backgrounds. I haven't used this one yet, just kind of a lighter color with a little bit of texture on it. But I use this one for my picture so far. It's just kind of a microfiber fleece that I picked up at Walmart and been using that. So this is the best setup I could come up with right here. I'm using a clothing bin down there with some incoming clothes. It's got some notches. You can see them down there. So it rests against the notch. And then you don't have to have them, but I put some magnets on the back side of that. I'm going to flip this around here in just a minute so you can see it. So it actually snaps against that door very, very well, and it's pretty sturdy. So I worked on and off of it for a couple hours and didn't have any issues with it falling or moving or anything like that. But this is the best place I could find with my small space. Just set you right there. Give you a shot of the back side of this. I'm going to talk about the cost of putting this together. So this is 4 8-foot 1x2s all cut up. So again, I've got it 4 foot wide, 60 inches long. I put braces in the middle, and then to quarter it off there, I put braces there. And then I took my scraps and I did 45s and I put braces in the corner just to give it a little bit of extra structure. So this is, what did I come up with? This was $13.20 worth of 1x2s at Home Depot. And then this foam. So a lot of people, if I see them doing these type of boards, they'll use like the colored foam. This is cheaper. So this is 1/2 inch. This comes in a 4x8 sheet, and this was $10.38 for a sheet. So I'm all into this with tax for about 27 bucks. Now, if you want to buy, if you don't have screws around the house, I had a whole bunch of screws. I just use drywall screws because they're cheap, and I had a ton of them to put this whole thing together. It might cost you $4 or $5 worth of screws if you don't have any. And then these magnets, again, these aren't a necessity, but I paid about, I think, 12 or 14 bucks for these magnets. They're super, super strong magnets. I think they'll hold like 25 or 30 pounds per magnet. And for what I'm doing, it works very well. Whenever I'm done using the board, I just set it right up against one of my metal racks, and the magnets hold it up against there so it's not falling down anywhere. So that's the board. I hope it is coming across well, but yeah. So that's my new clothing. You can hear that snap into place there. My new clothing setup for photographing clothing. I was thinking today I was going to be making this video going, man, I sure hope it's going to work, but I sold my first pair of pants that I photographed on that board a few days ago. Sold them this morning. It'll be on tomorrow's What Sold video, so you'll get a chance to see that. I was super stoked whenever I saw them come up. Somebody was looking at them. I sent out an offer, and they sold about 5 minutes later. So anyhow, All right, give me a second. I'm going to arrange the camera here, get it back in its place, and then we'll go on with the rest of the video. Before I jump into this week's sales, a couple of things pertaining to listing and buying and that sort of thing. I had a couple questions and comments this past week about the tools I'm using and apps and that sort of thing in my eBay business. So I use the things I use a lot, pretty much every day, is Google Lens, the eBay photo app to search with photos. Those are the two main things I use all the time. Other than that, I use my app for my printer. So I have a Munbin printer, and it has its own app that I use whenever I buy a shipping label. I open it from the eBay screen. I open it into that app, I hit print, and I print off the label for the shipment. So actually those are the three I use all the time. I'm using my printer app all the time. But yeah, so Google Lens I don't use to comp anything. I use it to find out what things are. If I'm questioning an item, a couple weeks ago I bought and sold a really cool wooden rotating CD rack, and I wasn't sure how to describe it exactly because I didn't realize it was a CD rack. Google Lensed it, and I got images for it telling me what it was. Then I can go to eBay, I can search it, find it, comp it, list it, sold it, made money. So I usually use Google Lens before I use the eBay photo app. The eBay photo app works generally, but it doesn't usually work quite as well as Google Lens. eBay is where I'm comping. Google Lens is where I'm finding out what something is and how to describe it when I'm looking for it in eBay. Somebody did ask about cross-listing. I don't cross-list. I did up until till December. For about 6 months, I was cross-listing to Poshmark, Depop, and Mercari. I had the most success on Poshmark with clothing and a couple items outside of clothing. Had a little bit of luck on Mercari with some like household type items. On Depop, I think I sold 1 or 2 things total. Depop was so aggravating because somebody would send you an offer. I would accept the offer very quickly, and then they would never buy it. I probably accepted a dozen offers, and not one time did somebody buy something that I accepted an offer for. Where on Poshmark, they're ahead of eBay a little bit on this one. On Poshmark, when somebody sends you an offer and you accept, it says it's sold right then. They billed the customer. I think one time I had a billing fail, but every other time, if I got an offer and I accepted it, it billed it right that moment and it was sold. I didn't have to wait for somebody to go back and go, oh, they accepted your offer. How much time do you want to take to pay? And that sort of thing. So I thought that was pretty good. But I was using AutoPosher to do my cross listing, and I did that because there was automated like closet updates and resharing and liking people who liked your closet and all this kind of stuff that Poshmark really wants you to do. I didn't have time to keep up with that kind of stuff. I don't know how anybody does. I'm assuming they're all using like automated tools. But so I was using AutoPosher, which now they've switched to Nifty.ai, which sounds trendier than AutoPosher, but and it, doesn't make it sound like it's just a Poshmark tool, although that's what most people got into it for. Anyhow, it just really wasn't working for me. The amount of money I was spending for all that stuff to be automated and working, I think the subscription was like $69 a month to do all the relisting, and it would relist your stuff on eBay for you. It would do all that stuff. It would do all the sharing and liking and all that stuff that Poshmark really wanted you to do. But again, I just wasn't seeing the benefit from it. So I decided to kill that. I invested that money in Flipwise instead. I'm spending a lot less, but Flipwise right now is not cross-listing. Listening to Justin's videos, it sounds like they are going to be building a cross-listing function in there. I'm assuming that when that happens, it's going to cost more money. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. But I may take another stab at it at that point and see how that goes. So yeah, I don't cross list. Only on eBay. I sell a little bit on Facebook Marketplace. If I find a big thing that I think's worth money and I don't want to ship it, I may flip it on Facebook Marketplace. But that's very few and far between. Right now, it's all eBay. So, well, that's out of the way. If this is your first time here, my name's Brian. I'm a reseller. I sell on eBay. I also make YouTube videos. I sell in the everything category on eBay, which is toys, tools, hats, stuffed animals, and all the stuff you're going to see in today's video. We're going to talk about first, we're going to talk about the 5 worst sales. Then we're going to talk about the 5 best sales and just go through all the details, how much I paid, how much I sold it for, how much profit I'm putting in my pocket at the end of the day. And yeah, let's just jump into the numbers. Last week, I sold 23 items for a total sale of $961.94. That is product sales and shipping revenue. After all the fees, shipping expense, eBay fees, ad fees, promo fees, all the stuff, I put $424.01 in my pocket. That's profit before taxes for a 44% profit margin. So decent week. Not the best week I've ever had, not the worst week I've ever had, just a decent week. Oh, look at that. So somebody's sending me an offer right now. We'll just do this one live. For a hat, I'm going to lose money on this hat, but I've had it for a long time, and I don't want it anymore. I'm going to accept the offer and get it the heck out of here. I've had this thing for more than 6 months. I need some cash back to reinvest. So we'll see. It's sold as long as they pay for it. The payment doesn't fail. So after all the fees, yeah, 44% profit margin. The number one profit source for sales last week was thrift stores. Been hitting a lot of thrift stores. Garage sale season is just starting to get fired back up. So I expect garage sales and estate sales are going to overtake that pretty soon. But I sold 9 of the items sold out of the 23 were from thrift stores. I sold 9 items on promoted listings. That's actually pretty low for me for a week. That was only 39% of the items sold on promoted listings. Usually I'm up in the 50 to 70% range, but that's okay. I don't mind paying less of those general ad fees. Don't mind paying less of those. And then sales made on an offer or a sale. So I did have a store sale running Saturday morning through Sunday night at 25% off store-wide. I had 16 sales total out of the 23, either on an offer or on the sale over the weekend. So that's 70%. So I sold 10 items over the weekend. So offer or sales, that means 6 items before that throughout the week were on an offer. Yeah, so ended up being pretty good. If you look at the totals, so you may have noticed that last week I made almost $40, $39.29 on my shipping, which a couple of people got on to me about. They're like, you better be making money on your shipping. You got to pay for all this and that, and which is understandable. There are fees on your shipping on eBay because it's revenue. And that was hard for me to wrap my mind around for a while until I thought about it in the terms of people who sell stuff free shipping. It's not free. They have their shipping built into the price of their product. So it looks like all revenue. So in my mind, I used to separate out the shipping. I kept it off to the side, and I just looked at my profit margin in terms of what I paid in the sale price of the item. And I put the shipping over here. But it makes sense to have the shipping included in the revenue number. So that's definitely going to offset fees on the shipping. And then for like shipping supplies, I spend maybe $5 a week on shipping supplies. My shipping prices, my supplies prices are very low. I'm using probably 1 to 1.5 rolls of tape a week. I use the eBay tape, which I don't love, but I use it. I use my store coupon every quarter to get eBay tape, and I So I'm into it for about $1 a roll, $1.25, something like that, after the coupon. And then all my boxes and packing materials. I do buy some bubble wrap off eBay. And I do buy a few small boxes, but most of 98% of my boxes are all upcycled boxes. So I get them for free from my dad. I get them for free from my wife, from her job. And then my dad actually goes out and scavenges a bunch of places for boxes for me. And then there's a guy on Facebook Marketplace I deal with where I buy a carload for $10 at a time. That is boxes, packing paper, bubble, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, that's so that $40 for, you know, in surplus from shipping last week helps cover all those costs. Well, we're going to talk about the 5 worst sales of the week first, and then we'll get into the 5 best sales of the week. I did lose money on an item this week, and it looks like on next week's video, at least because of this hat, hopefully no more, I'm going to have a lost money item as well. But this is all stuff that I picked up at Ross, and it's going to keep happening because still have stuff that I'm working on selling through, and it's going to keep plaguing me every once in a while. That's okay. So starting off at the fifth worst sale of the week is this Calphalon 1.5 quart saucepan. I picked it up for $5.40 at a local Goodwill and sold it for $14.64 plus shipping on an offer. So I made $4.69 on it, or an 18% profit margin. Unless I can get Calphalon super cheap, I'm really passing it up now. I bought some a while back at a garage sale where I bought a bunch of it, and I was into it for about $1 a piece, $2 a piece maybe, for some substantial pieces. That makes sense. Buying it at Goodwill, unless it's in like new condition, doesn't make sense. So I'm not going to be buying Calphalon anymore. Usually by the time it hits Goodwill, it's way too beat up and scratched up, and it's not in good shape. All right, looking at the 4th worst sale of the week, which is a really cool item, but still, it's this Empoli. This is an Italian, it's a decanter. People might use it as a vase, but it's a really cool piece. My wife and I picked it up at an estate sale for $20. I paid too much for it, but that happens sometimes. So I ended up selling it for $34.89 plus shipping for a $3.46 profit margin, pre-tax profit, or a 6% profit margin. Barely made any money, but it went pretty fast. I had it for like 24 days. So I remember seeing it. I had it listed for 24 days. So a little over 3 weeks to get it moving. 3rd worst sale of the week is this Hallmark Christmas ornament. This is a little train ornament from Hallmark. And this is their, I forget the subsidiary line, like Keepsakes or something like that Hallmark has, but stamped 1980, which was an amazing year. It's the year I was born. But I'm guessing somebody else was born in 1980, so they bought this ornament. I paid $1.75 for it. I sold it for $6 plus shipping for a $2.60 pre-tax profit, or 24% profit margin. I sold a bunch of ornaments pre-Christmas last year that I got in this same bundle. I could have held on to this one and stood my ground and made an extra, $3 or $4, but I would have waited until October, November, December, something like that, and I didn't want to wait. So got some money back, and now I can go spend it on new inventory. 2nd worst sale of the week is this Proto wrench. I bought a couple of these at an estate sale recently for $1 a pop. They're both Proto, and I was like, man, these might be worth a little bit of money. I didn't comp them because I was just buying a bunch of stuff at one time, and weren't worth as much as I thought. There was a bunch of them out there listed, so I picked it up for $1, sold it for $4.50 plus shipping on an offer. So I made $2.45 pre-tax profit on that wrench, or a 27% profit margin. And then number 1, the worst sale of the week, bought it from Ross, Dress for Less, is this Neff brand. This is a Mickey Mouse bucket hat. Really cool pattern. And paid $13.20 for it all in. and sold it for $11.91 plus shipping. So I lost $4.04 on that, and that's a negative 24% profit margin. The fun part is I have like 4 more of them in a bin over here that I still need to sell through. So I don't know if I'll get a little more money for them as we get into the warmer season. More people are going to Disney. I don't know if that means it's going to be more flooded with Disney hats. I really don't know what to expect. But yeah, so that's fun. They accepted, they paid for the hat. So there we go. Cool. All right. Now we're going to talk about the best 5 sales of the week last week. There's some cool stuff in here. I think I say that all the time. There's cool stuff in here, and to me it genuinely is cool stuff. So please forgive me if I'm talking about pots and pans and say they're cool. 5th best sale of the week is a Revereware 5-quart stock pot. Picked this up for $6.75 at Goodwill and sold it for $29.89 plus shipping. That one surprised me a little bit. There was no offer, no nothing. I guess the size was a little bit odd. There's a lot of 6-quart out there, not as many 5 quarts. Sold it for full price and without a lid. So it surprised me. But made $26.81 pre-tax profit, or a 53% profit margin. That's one, if you look at the shipping difference, I guess whenever I did a sell similar, I run into this a lot when I'm doing this on pots and pans, where people have this massive measurement and for their pots and pans, like 25-inch box, and I didn't modify that. So they paid like $21 in shipping, and it cost me $10 to ship it, 10 or 11. So I ended up making like $10 or $11 on the shipping on that item. But person saw the total price, they liked it, they paid it, and they have their stock pot now. Looking at the 4th best sale of the week are these Mizuno XP Plus golf clubs. It's an almost complete set of irons. I think it was missing the 8-iron. And then it has 2 woods. I picked that up at an estate sale liquidation place here in Oklahoma City. Whenever I went, they had this bundle of clubs, and I saw Mizuno, and I was like, oh, they can be good. And it's 50% off day. The clubs were $1 a piece, so I picked them up for 50 cents per club. So for the whole set, I've got $4.95 in that set, and I sold them for $49.89 plus shipping, and sold those in about, it took about a month, about 3 or 4 weeks to sell. Those I did ship FedEx home delivery. Anything real weird and big like that, I'll ship FedEx home delivery. And thanks to my dad, I had the perfect box for him, because he had pulled some kind of a car part, maybe for like a light bar or something, box out of like a mechanic shop, and those clubs fit in there perfect. So $39.50 pre-tax profit on those golf clubs for a 55% profit margin. All right, and then 3rd best sale of the week. This was interesting, this Fidelity chess game. This is the 2nd Fidelity electronics item I've sold in the past few months. This one was actually an international sale. It went to the Czech Republic, which was pretty interesting. It was like Film United in the Czech Republic. And I'm thinking, Film United? I don't know if they're using it in a movie, or I have no idea. But there's 2 boards, power cord, and an incomplete set of pieces. So interesting little piece. Picked it up at, I don't remember if it was a garage sale or a estate sale, one of the two, but I picked it up for $4 and sold the set for $59.89 plus shipping. So I made a $48.76 pre-tax profit, or a 65% profit margin. Very healthy profit and profit margin on that one for sure. Similar to number 2. Number 2 was this time clock. Time clock, right? Yeah, time clock. It sounds weird because obviously clocks keep time, but it's for punching in and out whenever you work somewhere. And the punching in and out, it would punch things, make the ching noise whenever it did it, the loud stamping noise. But that's not what it sounds like, by the way. It's a horrible interpretation. I couldn't decipher what the heck it was stamping. It made no sense to me. So I did put that in the description, and I put a picture of what it was stamping. I said, it's stamping. I have no idea how to adjust these things or how to work on them, but it does stamp things. So somebody wanted it. I paid $5 for it. They paid $69.89 plus shipping for it. The thing weighed 16 pounds. It's like this big. Weighed 16 pounds. It was so heavy. For a $56.96 pre-tax profit or a 64% profit margin. I think I only had that one listed for, it was about 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks as well. That one went fairly fast. And then coming home to number one, the best sale of the week. And I thought it might happen whenever I put that 25% sale up. I was like, this might happen. Sold this set of West Bend cookware. I picked this up at my local Goodwill, just a mile and a half down the road from here. I picked it up, the whole set, for $32. That's including tax. I had it listed up at like $219. On sale, I sold it for $164.92 for a $104.89 pre-tax profit or a 54% profit margin. And I had a great box to ship that in. It was so easy to get it shipped. I had everything pre-wrapped, kind of shrink wrapped together beforehand, so it was no problem shipping that whole set of cookware. But yeah, I was glad to see that one go out the door and made a really nice profit. Really helped. A bunch of those really helped the week for sure. But yeah, that's all I've got for this week. I hope the clothing piece made sense. I've been talking a lot about clothing and how I'm getting into selling clothing, and just I think it's a good, you know, they say the best offense is a good defense, or the best defense is a good, I don't know, whichever one it is. I'm doing that for my business. I'm trying to be offensive. Maybe it's the best defense is a good offense. I'm trying to be offensive with my business, and I'm looking out there in the landscape, and I'm like, I need more things. If I'm in a thrift store and they don't have cookware, and they don't have mugs that I want to buy, and they don't have a cool, you know, CD case, which today they did have one, but if they don't have that, what am I going to buy whenever I walk in the door? And clothing just made sense to me. I've done it before, and I've found some really cool stuff. I'm getting it listed up. Sold my first piece today, so I'm just eager to get that stuff moving and, you know, really broaden the scope of what I'm selling on eBay. So I appreciate you watching. If you have any comments or questions, please leave those down below. If you want to ask a question and you don't want to leave it in the comments, you can email me directly at reclaimedrepublic@gmail.com. That will be in the video description as well. I'm going to put a list of everything I bought for my photography board for the clothing in the description also, so in case that helps anybody. But until next time, have a great day.